there's somewhat of a thought that
like a lack of mentorship,
a lack of mentorship. You just don't have leadership really
warmth
in that community, right? You know, like so what happens is you come to idolize the people who are making moves, who are the OGs, who are the people, like, because that's what you have to look up to. And then when we look, I don't want to go there yet, but we could go there at some point when we look at the entertainment, especially for young black kids. I've seen a lot of these young Jewish kids, they like all these new rappers and all that other stuff like that. It's going to have a different effect on the young black kid who's coming from these same neighborhoods, because when they see the person, they see themselves. You understand what I mean?
100%.
Young Jewish kid, he doesn't see himself. He sees, little whatever his name is. Most of these guys are little something,
Pop
young
Smoke,
something.
whatever.
Whatever, pop smoke. Whatever the case is, they see these guys and they go like, wow, that guy's an entertainer. The young black kid says, no, that's me. You understand what I mean?
That's what I want to be.
That's not even what I want to be. That's all I could be. You understand what I'm saying? That's the way they see it, because that is idolizes success. This is the success that you can have, and your success doesn't even have to be legal success. You could be so-and-so from the hood and have a power position and all that other stuff, but that's still called success.
It sounds just very misleading and confusing. It's like not understanding what life is all about. It's just watching people have money and successful and saying that's what I'm here for.
Right.
It's a lack of information.
It's a lack of information. It's a lack of understanding oneself. It's deep if you want to know who's to blame. The truth is, when you look at this, there was a movie years ago that I'm gonna reference.
Sure.
I don't recommend anybody watching the movie, but there was a movie called Boys in the Hood. All right.
Yeah.
Boys in the Hood was starring, Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr., whatever the case is. Yeah, of course. All right. Classic movie from the 90s.
Very classic.
So there's a certain point, and I'm gonna give it to you without the foul language, where there's a discussion of God going on in a car at one of the parties or something like that, and Ice Cube, who was Doughboy in the movie, is saying that he was having a whole discussion with this young lady, saying that God can't be a girl, because if she was a girl, then there'd be no wars or anything like that, because that ain't in the girl's nature. Whatever. He was having all this this whole conversation about how he was philosophizing, the nature of God based on his his own understanding. I think the issue is that, and another part of the discussion I have to bring up, this is the most important part, was that it was brought up somewhere, I think it was in that same scene, could have been a different part in the movie, but he said also that, we didn't bring all the drugs into our community. What black people own boats and all this other stuff that's able to communicate with Cuba. We didn't own boats, we didn't own ships, we didn't own that. So how does it that these things are in our community? How's there, a liquor store on every corner, or a gun shop, whatever the case is,
government,
that are in it? So technically, the truth is that these things happen on the outside. There was at one point, this is something that's being discussed a lot right now, is that in music right now, especially, let's say, hip-hop, there was a shift when hip-hop was more political, was more educational, or even more style about fun or whatever, but you would have never heard, or more so, I would say, people crying to get out, of the neighborhoods and the life that they were in, to where there was this major shift in hip-hop at some point. After NWA, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Eazy-E, all these guys come out. And then that later on becomes a status quo. We watch that. If I could take you to a particular figure, we'll say Tupac Shakur. You look at him before Death Row, and you look at him after Death Row. Completely different guy, right? And the amount of records he's able to sell, and the success that he skyrocketed to, which unfortunately, because of the way the content and what it was, led to the end of his life.
Me and Tupac have the same birthday.
Oh, really?
June 16.
So it's June 16. Okay, so what you see is that itself somehow starts to become the status quo of what music is, and what was there before is sort of like, not only is it does it fade to the back, but it's almost like you can't get a deal. Nobody's checking for you anymore if you're talking anything positive or anything like that. And they ask you what the shift. So there's a lot of different rumors going around right now. And some of them are more credible than others. But one of the things is that there was obviously a meeting of the minds at some point. There was one guy who claims he was there at the time this meeting took place.
The higher ups.
Yeah, the higher ups, where they understood that if they had stock also in the prison, right? It was presented to them. You have stock in the prison, right? You already have the artists, and it's not unusual for labels to double dip. I'll tell you another way it works now. That, if you're signing these acts, you don't lose. If you can present violence and the idea of making illegal money and drugs and all this stuff through the music, right? These guys end up incarcerated. You don't lose any money. You're making money. Prisons are owned privately, right? So you have a stock in the prisons. This is one of the ideas that's been floating around. But we see that that's not unusual for these companies to do that because, right, when we come to looking at things right now, right, what happened? The industry goes into a frenzy. Like nobody knows what to do because now you're able to download people's music for free. Rhapsody goes crazy, Napster, right? And so that gave birth to these streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever. And Spotify, which is probably the biggest of the labels, also have a chilek in that also too. Specifically, Sony and Universal, right, own stakes in that. So not only are they getting from the artists, they're also getting on the other end of the streaming platform as well. So it's like capital. We don't lose, right? Trying to find ways to some degree monopolize where we don't lose.